Dr. Eid Sabbah is the Director of Nursing at Kamal Adwan Hospital, and he joins us on the phone from Northern Gaza. Sir, it's great to have you on the program. Can you tell us what's happening inside the hospital right now?
In fact, since the beginning of this attack and since the beginning of this aggression, the hospital of Kamal Adwan in Northern Gaza is being under attacks. Aggression from the Israeli military and also the hospital and surrounding the hospital. What happened this morning is that Israeli tanks were approaching in a very fast manner. It was as close as 50 meters from the hospital, and many people were sent, people that we didn't know. They were sent to inside the hospital. They were wearing a specific and a different uniforms, and they were equipped with weapons, and they had also speakers. They sent a message to Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya and his colleague, and they asked them, the occupation forces asked them to evacuate the hospital, including patients and the medical staff. They asked them to evacuate and to go toward the tanks and then to move to Salahuddin Street. And shortly after, they had another demand. They requested to evacuate all the patients and the injured because of the bombing that took place earlier in the surrounding houses. This operation and this situation led to the killing of 30 people inside the hospital, including 4 staff of the hospital that were targeted directly in the corridors of the hospital. They were part of the administrative staff of the Kamal Adwan Hospital, but also medical staff, including nurses and also technical staff. They were targeted and killed. Some nurses also had to do some surgeries, although they were not doctors, because of the Indonesian medical team that had to evacuate. They arrived 3 days earlier and they had to leave upon the request of the occupation forces. They asked them to evacuate the hospital and they had to leave walking through, going to Salahuddin Street, and they had some patients with them. The targeting of this hospital does not stop. What happened today and what happens every day to this hospital is a crime. It's a grave crime against the health system and also all the health providers. It is unacceptable, and the World Health Organization and the United Nations allow us to work even during war. We need and we demand protection from the United Nations so that we can continue to provide a service that is stipulated in the international conventions. Also, I'd like to add that a few hours later, there was a coordination between World Health Organization and the health authorities in Gaza and Ramallah have worked and coordinated together to evacuate the injured and patients who cannot undertake any medical procedure in Kamal Adwan. These ambulances were targeted and attacked at the sight of everyone. The driver of the ambulance were miraculously saved and their lives were spared. What is happening? This is unacceptable.
Doctor, can you pause for a second? Because I want to make sure that I'm understanding what you're saying correctly. If I can, you're telling us that the WHO coordinated with the medical teams of the hospital to evacuate patients. And you're telling us that the Israeli military deliberately targeted the ambulances in which those patients were being evacuated. Did I understand that right?
Yes, correct. This is exactly what happened. After they entered the hospital and after they took some patients and some medical staff and killed who they killed, and they did whatever they want. A few hours later, we have received 4 ambulances from the health authorities of Gaza in coordination with the international organization to arrive to Kamal Adwan Hospital. This also happened yesterday and the day before yesterday. We have those ambulances arrived to the hospital in order to evacuate the patients. And it was also broadcast through Al Jazeera channels that these ambulances were targeted before approaching the hospital. It was a direct targeting, and it was also a crime, and they were about to die. The driver could have died, God forbid.
Are there still patients and medical staff inside the hospital as we speak?
Yes, there is still medical staff and medical team, including Dr. Hussam and also some other medical personnel who cannot undergo or do any medical surgeries, but non-surgeons are still there. We have to stay. We do not have any other option. And the whole world is just watching how this healthcare and the health system is collapsing. A pediatrist is trying to do a surgery. This is a crime. He's not a specialist. He cannot do a surgery, but he's trying to save lives. We have some doctors who are not specialists. We have nurses. We have some medical staff. However, the service that we are providing is less than minimum given the situation that we are living and given the aggression. Also, the electrical generators are not working. The oxygen also is not available. The medicine warehouse also. They do not want to let any sort or form of life inside Kamal Adwan Hospital, although it's stipulated in international conventions and UN conventions that it is our right to continue to provide medical and health services. This is something that should be respected and should be applied. And those who wrote those conventions should come and help us to put into practice those laws and clauses. This is the role of and the responsibility of the whole world. They need to protect us.
Dr. Eid Sabbah, Director of Nursing at Kamal Adwan Hospital in Northern Gaza, thank you very much for sharing all that information with us this hour.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.